Now, time is running out to save the planet. A landmark UN climate report says there is no doubt that human activities are contributing to raising the global surface temperature. The report shows that efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions have been insufficient over the past decades, and the Earth is now warmer than it's been in thousands of years. Africa remains the most vulnerable continent despite contributing the least to greenhouse gas emissions. Across the continent, climate change, felt through recurring floods and droughts, is producing millions of refugees each year. Now, in a moment, we'll be talking to an expert about what needs to be done. But let's first take you to Western Kenya, where our correspondent Mariel Müller reports that floods have created a humanitarian crisis.
What looks like a lake used to be farmland. Dozens of homesteads are now underwater. This is the first time Dorothy Akinyi has returned to the ruins of her house. She worked long and hard. Now everything is gone. I want to cry. I built this house not long ago. I have no means to rebuild it. I borrow money every day. I have to beg for food. I'm begging to rebuild my house, but there's not even land for it. It's been known for decades that River Nyando in Western Kenya is prone to overflowing. But it has always been manageable, says Dorothy Akinyi. It never threatened her farm.
Dorothy has been living here for over 20 years, but in 2017 everything changed. Her house and her entire livelihood has been destroyed. She's convinced it is connected to climate change. But with no help from the government, she and 600 other families depend now on aid donations.
The floods caused people to move to this camp, a few kilometers away. Conditions are bad. People live just on one meal a day. There's hardly any medical help, and the risk of typhoid and malaria infection is high because of water contamination. Elizabeth Abonyo lives here with her 3 children. The children are always sick. I find them sleeping all the time. When I ask them what's up, they say, "Mommy, my head, Mommy, my head." But we don't have money to buy medicine, or even money to take them to hospital. This is the 5th time they've been displaced due to flooding. It seems to be a never-ending cycle, and it seems little is being done to prevent it. The only thing that could help Dorothy and the others in the long term would be to build a dam. She recalls a visit by a government minister. Minister Eugene Wamalwa came to the camp by helicopter. He said they would release money to build this dam. So when the water comes this way, it won't come back to our land and displace us. But they have done nothing. We take Dorothy's statement to the minister in Nairobi. So what is your reaction to that?
Yes, we have had this problem for quite a while. We have the long-term solution to this, which is really building a dam that would cost, I think, over 20 billion. It's going to be a huge dam. This administration has actually prioritized it, and I'm very happy that before the end of this year, we should be able to get it underway.
He expects it to be completed in 3 to 4 years, and he promises cash payments for the vulnerable. But Elizabeth Abonyo doesn't believe that. She wants to know why it has taken the government so long to act. She'd like to move to a safer area to provide her children with a stable home. If you don't have money, you have to stick to the place that's yours, no matter how bad it is, because you have no means to go and rent a house. So we are forced to die in this place, no matter how bad it is. All she has is the hope that the minister is true to his word.
Joining me now is the Executive Director of the Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, Dr. Mitika Mwenda. Hello and welcome to the program, Dr. Mwenda. Now, we just saw a report about Western Kenya's Nyanza area facing constant flooding, and residents believe it's getting worse due to climate change. Do you agree?
Of course, it is caused by climate change. But also there are other causes, of course, which combines with this. That is cause of deforestation and land degradation due to overpopulation. So there are so many factors, but really climate is one of the factors.
Well, that's definitely in line with what the latest UN climate report says. It suggests that human activities are largely responsible for worsening climate change. What is driving climate change in Africa?
Well, it's not in Africa alone, but globally, we know the cause of climate change is a combination of many factors, and it's about the mode of production and consumption, which we have adopted since the Industrial Revolution. That we are pumping a lot of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which interfere with the atmosphere. And that basically what we are saying, that if we want to reverse these causes, we have really to live within the planetary boundaries. And that's actually what this report says. We have been talking about it, but well, who listens? Because we know the solution, but we have remained indifferent to acting on it.
Okay, interesting what you say, who listens, and we have the solutions. We'll be getting to possible solutions later. But back to Africa, what are the worst affected areas on the continent, and how are they affected?
The key areas, as you may be aware, right now, you know, countries like Algeria in North Africa now are completely inundated by the changing climate. You see, in the past, you had seen the hurricane, the cyclone Kenneth in southern Africa. Countries like Mozambique and Zimbabwe, they have never recovered. As we speak, even now, billions of dollars were wasted, and the people are still picking from that. In Eastern Africa, you will see persistent drought, the eastern and horn of Africa. So these are things which are observed. In fact, I normally say that we don't now need scientists to tell us that things are changing. They are observable, and we really need to do something, particularly in Africa, which is the most vulnerable, and of course has contributed very minimally, very negligibly to the impact, to the cause of climate crisis.
I'll pick it up from your last words. We need to do something. Here's the thing. Africa has enormous hydropower potential, enough sunshine. Why isn't the continent harnessing this wealth of renewable sources of energy?
The bottom line here is lack of resources, and number two, lack of political will, both at global level and this. We know the solution of this is renewable energy. Why are we not transitioning? Why not are we not divesting from fossil fuels to renewables? Because we know these are the solution.
For me, sir, that sounds really like an excuse. I think the main challenge is the lack of the political will, because if there was the political will, then of course, wherever the money will be gotten from, we will find that to invest in that, right?
Yeah. Exactly, precisely. Let me tell you, and actually, that's the campaign we have been mounting, particularly to the industrialized countries. They have been saying that there is no money to invest in climate action, for mitigation and adaptation in Africa, and building resilience for the communities, like the communities I come from. There is a lot of money. And the COVID-19 actually has shown us that. Within a record time, these industrialized countries were able to mobilize trillions of dollars within a short time, a year, to develop the vaccine, and of course now for post-COVID reconstruction. We are asking, if they were able to do that, why did they do that? Why are they saying there is no money to address climate? It is because they don't see climate change as their problem. They think that it is African problem. But I want to challenge them. Look at what is happening in the Netherlands right now. Look at what's happening in Germany. Look at what's elsewhere and many other countries in the north. The difference between that and Algeria is that Algeria has no capacity. They have capacity, but at the end of the day, they are being affected. One time, they are going to sink with it. It is not going to be useful. So it's not our favor to address climate change. It is a problem, a global problem. We have to address it collectively, just as we have done in COVID.
Okay, you're talking about a more collaborative effort. Let's wrap it up now with aggressive action that should be taken now to avoid the most dire effects of climate change.
This one is build resilience of communities, because we cannot reverse the climate impacts. We cannot reverse. We have to build resilience so that these communities can survive. That requires sufficient resources and, of course, technology and capacity for these communities. 2, deep emission cuts at the source. Even if you give us money to offset emissions in Congo forest or Amazon or elsewhere, when you are not addressing it at US level, at the most emitting countries, I don't think we are addressing it. So these has two. So we need really deep emission cuts, and that should be done in industrialized countries. You need to change the mode of production and consumption, and because that is where the problem is. Once we address that, then we are going to really bequeath the future generation, habitable planet, and assure the health of planet and survival for humanity.
Okay. Dr. Mitika Mwenda, Executive Director of Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.